Welcome back to the Dodo Birds podcast. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Sam. I'm here with my buddy Mike. For our podcast, we just sit around and shoot the shit. Every time we have ever tried to plan something, it's been a less interesting episode, so we just kind of go for it.
Yeah, we're coming back and just gotta see what happens. We don't have any plan for today.
Right, but we were off last week.
Yep.
And so we'd like to apologize for that. Mike actually has an explanation for you.
Yeah, it was my fault. I want to take full responsibility that there is a reason that, or I'm the reason why we didn't have an episode last week. I think I'm in like an early midlife crisis. My soul craved adventure. I did a little time in the Middle Eastern seas. Egypt was pretty cool. Yeah, I learned a lot. Ancient tomes mostly. The things I saw really have changed me, and I've come back with a changed perspective.
Yeah. You saw some things.
Oh.
You learned some things.
Did I ever?
And boy, that was a hell of a week. So, take time to discover yourselves, Dodo Birds.
Yeah, it's about self-discovery and the discovery of forgotten texts.
Yes, forgotten texts and tomes, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They fall in the text.
Ancient Greek. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Tomes are texts, Sam.
They're functional texts.
Yeah. Functional.
If you do them right.
If you do them right. Actually, before I have a question for you, but I have another question sparked of that.
Okay.
What the hell is a tome anyways, as opposed to just calling it a book?
I think it's a hybrid between a book and a scroll.
Okay.
Like, I think tomes maybe had specific function. I don't
Okay.
know though.
Yeah.
I always hear tome in occult context.
Yeah.
So like, are there children's tomes? Just like, like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, right. It's like the bunny who went, across the field.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's a tome.
Yeah. Just in a human flesh parchment stitched together.
Yeah, that would not be that actually would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how kids would even react to that nowadays with what is currently out there. Like Happy Tree Friends exists.
I don't think that would be a nowadays thing. If children's tomes ever existed, it would have been a thing of the
Thousands
past.
of years ago.
Yeah.
Still, back then, you were an adult at age 5. You needed to at least snap one chicken's neck by then.
You're the man of the house now.
Yeah, exactly.
Your father's gonna die any moment.
A tome about vampiric bunny rabbits eating each other. That's that's like when you're first getting your cognitive abilities.
Yeah,
that's early.
Yeah, it's a fun story about about adolescence.
It's about this is a coming of age story.
Yeah, coming of age story. That's exactly it. It turns out that a lot of original Disney fairy tales were pretty weird and dark.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you.
I mean,
you know
they all
much
start
about
out
that.
with some tragic shit.
Yeah. Like the original Snow White, is creepy in its own ways. There's some sexual.
Oh yeah. One chick, 7 dudes.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
Doesn't matter what size the dudes are, okay?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It kind of matters. Oh wait, you're talking about how tall they are.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, to her that didn't matter.
Yeah.
Or so the story is told. But yeah, there was a lot of original old fairy tales that were pretty messed up.
Well, and I mean, they were just weirdly blatant about it in some of them, like the old Lion King. At one point, I think it's just before or just after he sees Mufasa and the Simba sees Mufasa in the sky, the clouds just straight up spell out the word sex.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, why? Why are you doing this? Is it a joke for the parents? I mean, it's
you know that it's
that
like
particular one is, it's not even funny.
the animator is just like, I'm gonna sneak this in.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah. Watch
like,
this, guys.
I bet it's a game in the studios where it's like, how many things can we sneak in?
Yeah. This is gonna be a generation-breaking movie, and watch what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Like I've heard tattoo artists that try to like sneak in little tiny dicks into
people's
into
tattoos.
sleeves, and like it's shaded in, and like how good can you get away with it? I actually found one on my,
on your own. You gonna show it to the camera?
it might be hard to see, but this is not a dick, but it is a vagina.
Here, I want to lean in and see it.
So right there, I have a rose here. Roses are floral, but this is for sure right there.
Dude, it totally is.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah. Just go like that. Yeah, like just right up to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
you
know if
can
you
kinda
can
see
see
it.
it, but like
We'll try to outline it in editing, maybe.
the tattoo artist afterwards said, he's like, yeah, I did that. And he's like, and you've had it for 3 years and it hasn't bugged you, so it's fine.
Yeah. That's great, man. I would do it if I could.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what happened with the Sex Clouds.
Yeah. It was just him working his magic into it.
Dude, Sex Clouds is a good jazz band name.
I was just about to say it's a great band name.
like a jazz fusion, modern. Yeah, Sex Clouds.
Sex Clouds.
Who are they touring with?
Sex Clouds?
Yeah,
Boner Biters?
too
hardcore. That's like a
abrasive.
metal
Yeah.
band.
Sex Clouds and
And Ecstasy Wave.
I was gonna say like
No, that's more like a rave band.
Teal Kleenex or like
Teal Kleenex.
or like
Soft Kleenex.
yeah, Orange Lingerie, or it would be
See, I'm not good with this one.
yeah.
You got way better names than me. Boner Biters. That was not.
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave it.
Who is
Sex Clouds, the jazz band, touring with? Leave it in the comments below.
Yeah. You'll catch them at Coachella next year.
Yeah, they'll be there. They won't look like me and Mike at all.
Dude, if we could dupe the masses into thinking we're established any sort of anything, like if we have to be DJs or something,
that would probably be the easier route. Oh, nope, sorry, no offense. I didn't mean I'm piss off DJs saying that.
Well, it's easier to get to Coachella as a DJ
yeah.
than it is as
a jazz band.
Bobby Rattlesnakes and
and the Sex
in
Clouds.
the shirt buttons.
And the shirt buttons. Now you're reminding me of like some of our older episodes where we would like try to name shit.
Yeah.
So what do we call this thing? Arctic Rick, or what do we call this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, now I actually have a question for you. We're a few minutes in now. It's something I've been meaning to ask you for a while, but we keep saying, "Oh, let's save it for the podcast." Then we don't do it on the podcast. We're gonna do it today.
Okay.
In your opinion, what constitutes an honest thief? You've heard that term before, right?
Yeah.
Honest thief. And so obviously like Robin Hood counts.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
That's kind of like the base, right?
He's the gold standard.
Yeah.
Right. But there's more.
Yeah.
Right. Other things and not every honest. In fact, you could. I don't know the stats on it, but I guarantee not every honest thief is like doing it in the name of something better.
Altruism.
Yeah.
Like
it's for themselves, right? But still, I have thoughts on it, but I want to hear yours. What constitutes an honest thief?
So, like you said, it is kind of a slippery slope as far as intentions, because like you could think you have good intentions. So I think that is ingrained in that phrase though. It's like good intentions. You are doing something bad. You shouldn't steal or whatever, but you want it to go to somewhere good, or like you want to help somebody with it.
So to you, if they're stealing whatever it is, it's for a good cause?
Yeah.
Okay, give me some good causes. You don't have to give me everyone because there's a lot. But...
neighborhood kids that are underprivileged.
Okay.
Or like, like you want to help out, you're stealing it. Like, let's say you have a great aunt who has cancer and she doesn't have enough money to do it. So you decide to rob a bank or something.
Okay.
Like, so as long as helping somebody else besides you is in the equation, I think
that's what makes you an honest thief. In your opinion.
Relatively, yeah.
Okay, because
I think there's
this
more
is all
parameters,
opinion.
but like as a base.
Also, before we continue, I do want to say we here at Wise Words for Dodo Birds do not advocate stealing or being a thief in any way, shape, or form. It is bad, it is wrong, it is illegal. Do not do it. Now, that being said, moving forward. Okay, so Mike seems to think that, or in Mike's opinion, not seems to think, not say it like it's not true. So in Mike's opinion, you have to essentially be stealing for a good cause, meaning somebody else in need. So it is sort of Robin Hood-y.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be somebody else in need, but like maybe you're stealing a bad thing from a bad person. Like
that's still a good cause.
An unhinged lunatic in your town has
a bunch of guns,
17 AKs.
Yeah.
And like you could steal them to help.
Now,
others.
Is that person a thief, or are they just doing a good deed? Like
they're stealing.
They're stealing, but like if it's a one-time thing, and yes, that is by all technical accounts a thief, but like an honest thief, like criminal, lifelong thief.
Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit more. What would it take to be that kind of thief? Like someone who does it for a living, but you are still an honest thief, in your opinion?
I think there's probably some financial like institutions that have very much that attitude that like we're going to fucking rip off Goldman Sachs. So
I will say, in my opinion, companies and shit like that, they don't count as honest thieves at all to me.
Yeah.
They're the fucking crooks.
I think there are some that take that approach though.
Sure.
Like, like Wall Street Bets, right?
Right.
They literally like amped up GameStop stock just to fuck over like corporate investors that were trying to short it. And so they like, did millions of dollars of damage to people.
To rich people.
Yeah, to rich people.
And it helped a lot of other people.
And it did help.
Honest thieves.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's
Wall Street Bets.
That's a great example. I actually love that one. Because so I'll give a little bit more of my thoughts on it now.
Okay.
So to me, whether you're a lifelong thief or a one-timer or, here and there, whatever it might be.
Sure.
One of the things that constitutes an honest thief is that you are not trying to hurt people physically. So you're not sticking a gun in someone's face. You're not throwing people around. You know what I mean? Like armed robbery, you're not an honest thief. You're a thief. You're a criminal, but you're not an honest thief, in my opinion. It really doesn't really matter what you're doing it for either. I think if you're, unless it's a complete and total piece of shit that deserves to have a gun stuck in their face, but
there may be like an exception or two to that, but I think generally absolutely
speaking,
right.
Yeah, sticking guns in people's face, it's like you're not an
bad
honest
guy
thief.
Stuff.
Yeah,
that's bad guy stuff.
And so I also don't think you necessarily have to be stealing to give to the poor or anything like that. Like you could be stealing for yourself strictly selfishly, and you could still be an honest thief. It just depends on who you're stealing from. I know.
I've got a good example for you based on what you just said there.
Hit me.
Are like telepastors and like internet Christianity charlatans is that? Because
are they honest thieves?
Yeah.
No.
Because they're stealing and it is not bad.
They know they're hurting people.
Yeah, but it's optional. It's the people hurting themselves via a person.
I still don't know if I would call that honest. Let me put it like this.
Like Joel Osteen.
Yeah,
you know?
See, no, because he's making himself extremely rich and he's stealing from essentially poor people. Whether they're giving it to him or not. Again, because
he's not extorting them.
No, but then if we're calling that thieving to begin with.
He's not really earning it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a big question because he's technically not stealing it, but he's technically not earning it.
Yeah.
But either way, he's kind of robbing people.
Right.
And
That's
so I
like-
wouldn't call him, but I wouldn't call it honest because of the people he's robbing, right? They're not rich people, right? They're not companies that are insured because that's kind of what I was getting at. Like banks are insured.
Yeah.
A lot of but also a gas station owned by so-and-so for the last 25 years, just this guy, behind the counter that owns the gas station probably might be insured for something like that, but you're hurting this guy. Like,
yeah.
And so that's not honest thievery, whether the gun's involved or not, even if you're just stealing from his, like the guy goes into the back to help another customer and you steal from the register, then I still don't consider that honest thievery.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So it's like it's intention and it's the target.
Mm-hmm.
Like the target is really important.
The target is very important. Yes. Because like you steal from, again, even if there are people, like you said, like religious people who are donating and then Joel Osteen buys a mansion with it.
Yeah.
Like, you could get into all kinds of debates about where that's stealing and, the morality of it all. But if you call that stealing, I don't call that honest thievery at all, because these are not people. But again, also, if you're ripping off a meth dealer, if he keeps his, $100,000 in a duffel bag and you just know where it is, like you said, meth dealer's probably not going to do good things with that $100,000.
Is Saul Goodman an honest thief?
It depends on when in his life we're talking about.
We'll say like in Breaking Bad, or like, no, you could just say as a character. Like, you don't need to go into specific.
I would say no, not in Better Call Saul. I mean, because he definitely does like petty theft. But see, he does do things where it's like you won't notice.
Yeah.
Like the person like.
Well, like in further in his career, like, the iconic Saul Goodman, not like
I actually have a good example though of one that it's petty thievery, but I would call it honest thievery to some degree because he goes into this place for a job interview and sees a little figure on a shelf, and he knows that the people there clearly have no idea, and he knows that figure's worth like $4,000.
Yeah.
Right. And so then he actually hires a guy to go in and steal it. And the people would never, none the wiser. Yeah, they're none the wiser. Right. And they just made $4,000. That's still stealing. And I would call it honest thievery, especially because there was actually, this is a great example. I'm glad you asked, because there was a guy at the office when the thief showed up that night. Shout out to fucking Better Call Saul, by the way. I'm just going to but like there's a guy there, his wife kicked him out or whatever. And he's like ordering a pizza and the thief is like hiding from him because he could just pop out, smash the guy's head into something. Yeah. And
he's going out of his way to do it,
to not hurt the guy, not even, not do anything, right? Just to make his presence not even known,
like
obviously.
Victimless.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I'll call that honest thievery right there. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great example of it.
Because like even in his later years, he is doing business with shady people, and he's definitely taking a better cut than like, so he's like kind of taking some money out of the hands of mongrels.
A lot of that business later on, though, it still involves a lot of people getting killed.
Yeah.
And that's not an honest thief.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Again, we're just speculating on opinion here. But
it's
you're absolutely right about his intentions usually being for the better. And he does draw the line sooner on like, I'm not doing that anymore.
And bad people got killed,
Usually it was some criminal. Yeah. People in the game, as they would put it. Yeah. And so
that's even more like morally ambiguous.
I would absolutely grant you too in either of those shows, except for maybe Mike, not this Mike.
Yeah.
He is
Walter.
He's got a strict code. But he'll also kill people for Gus Fring, so I would not call that
he's
an
not
honest criminal.
Yeah.
But Saul is definitely the closest thing you're gonna find in those two shows to an honest thief, honest criminal.
So do we have to add any more context to honest thief?
To like what we think it means?
Yeah. Are there any more layers we're missing, you think?
Again, we don't want people getting hurt. Who you're stealing from is the most important. I would say. I mean, and those are two top things.
And people getting hurt,
physically, I guess I made sure to clarify.
No. I was just gonna say that people getting hurt, I think, comes in a couple of different ways.
It does, but see, that is why when you continue into the second rule, who are you stealing from? Because if you're stealing from a poor person and you're not physically hurting them, you're still hurting them.
You're right.
So that's why we covered it with the 2 rules, I would say. But there could be more to it than that, because what are you stealing? Because if you're stealing, missile plans on how to build a fucking missile, and you're planning on building that missile, then you're not an honest thief, even if you don't hurt anybody in the process. But if you're stealing, even if the people who had it shouldn't have it anymore, But if
you're stealing those missile plans from tyrants so they don't have them, and then you destroy them,
that's honest thievery, hardcore. Yeah, that's like spies. Yeah,
yeah. So I think there is another layer to that as well. Is that like, what do you do with the loot afterwards?
Yeah,
like. Not
because
only...
again, I also don't necessarily think it's because somebody like a poor person stealing from some corporation because they found a loophole to do it.
Yeah,
and that corporation's insured, or that if they're even noticing that if it's a big enough company, they're probably not even noticing it's getting stolen. That's an honest thief. Nobody's getting hurt from that. This person needs it. If it's like a loaf of bread, right? You know what I mean? But even if it's not, even if it's like, I want my kid to have an extra Lego set, and they're not, if they're doing it all the time, it's still petty thievery, I would argue.
Yeah.
But I would call it more or less honest thievery. Now, if you're stealing it from mom and pop shop, different story. Not honest thievery.
I think if you're a repeat offender in this thing at all, you're not, like, unless you're like...
See, the argument that I'm trying to make, though, is can an honest thief, like a criminal, lifelong thief, is there, like, you've stolen shit in your life, right?
Sure.
I have 2. Statute of limitations is over anyway, so we can admit all we fucking want. At least it is for me.
As a kid.
That being said, I never hurt anybody. I never stole from like a thrift store. I've taken shit from a Walmart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I even ripped off a drug dealer one time. No guilt. And I consider most thieving that I've done in my life, all of it, I would argue, which is very minimal to begin with, all honest thievery. So
I think most thieves also think that too, though. That it's like,
I would say so.
I'm a good guy. I'm down on my luck. I just need to get by.
And I guess I would also say in my adult life, and that's the thing. I'm not being, that's the things, right? But I'm not saying that it was for good cause or for good reason. Sometimes, one time it was a fruit roll up.
Yeah.
But it was from school. The school is fine. You know what I mean? And it's not good. Again, we did the disclaimer earlier. I want to say it's still not good to steal. If you're someone who steals all the time, it's a bad thing. But we're just trying to differentiate between someone who is an honest thief versus someone who is just a fucking criminal thief.
So based on our rules, who else in, pop culture or movies or games or something fits this archetype?
Oh, I actually can't. While you try to think of that, I can think of an example in the town that we're in. No, I won't say the name of it. But it was when I was a teenager, so you would have been too. There was someone going through this town and robbing corporate gas stations that closed while they were closed. So like these places are corporate, so they're insured for this kind of stuff. And he would go in while they were closed.
Yeah.
One of them was a stop and go, right? And it was closed. He like cut the cameras, right? Went in, stole all the money, left. No one got hurt. They didn't even know till the next morning because no alarms went off. It's just like all the money's gone.
Spec ops, dude.
That guy's an honest thief, in my opinion. He didn't hurt anybody. The stores are insured. He didn't even trash the place.
Yeah. Huh.
So, and that was about 15 years ago now.
Yeah. But I'm sure that sort of thing happens all the time. Like, like real professionals.
And again, that doesn't,
so
it's still not a good thing to do.
So is professionalism or, planning or like, the way the job is executed. Is that part of the...
Definitely, which is
Because
why
you
I
can't
said
be
no
sloppy.
sticking a gun in somebody's
Yeah.
face. Immediately, you've lost your value as an honest thief, you know?
Yeah, so strategic, like, planning
Precision.
is precision.
Yeah.
Is part of it, because, like, if you're sloppy, he would have just, you know, hit the alarm off and smashed through the window and, like, just grabbed as much beef jerky as he can or whatever.
Now, so what about somebody who is like a diamond thief?
Okay.
They steal the diamonds and then they pawn it off. You know, they sell it. They cut them up, do whatever, sell them, pocket the cash, and they're just getting rich. No one gets hurt, right? They meet our parameters. The diamonds are insured. But this is just a person who just fucking stole diamonds, got rich, fucked the world. Not a good person.
Unless they're distributing the wealth to somebody that isn't just benefiting themselves, I think they are still just criminals.
Just a criminal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like, even if you cleanly get away with a crime, but, like, that's because that's taking advantage of people as well.
But again,
that you're
it still
smarter.
checked a lot of our boxes, so now we're adding almost another one where it's like you do have to be doing...
That's what I was saying with the third rule, is that, like, the way the loot is distributed, I think is, like, valuable to the thought exercise here.
Loot distribution.
Yeah,
Rule number 3. I think we got something here.
Yeah,
we have at least 3, and that's the thing. You can't make too many, you know, for the list, because then it just becomes annoying. So, like, I think 3 plots. I don't know if you could think of a 4th one.
No, I think we covered everything pretty much. Okay, so recap.
Rule number 1, no violence.
No violence.
Rule number 2, the person, the intended target.
Yeah.
And then number 3, loot distribution.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, I want to add on to rule 1 real quick. Like, so we talked about, like, precision in your planning, in the way you're going about it, I think is, like, in your intentions, you know? So that's, like, in baked or, like, embedded into rule 1, is that, like, who you intend to, you know, and what. And then rule 1 kind of spreads into all the others, too, you know?
It does.
Because, like, what are you going to do with the money or whatever? You know, what are your plans afterwards?
However, I still want to say something that does not constitute an honest thief. Let's say you check all the boxes except for the first one, because the person you're robbing is just the worst in the world. You kill that guy for whatever fucking reason, right? He molested 26 children, right? Whatever it might be. You kill him and you take something. You're still not an honest thief. You know what I mean? You still killed somebody. I still think you're not an honest thief.
I agree. Because,
again, that doesn't... Maybe you're still a better person than the guy you killed. Sure. But that, like, again, if we're talking just parameters...
Because if you allow that wiggle room, it gets a lot slipperier. Because why was it justified? What did this guy do? And
exactly. You have to start diving into all this other shit. And it's like, the rule is you can't kill anybody. You can't even hurt them.
Yeah. Like,
even if they attack you, you did something. You went wrong about your planning phase to be an honest thief.
Sure.
Again, you can still rob them. There's no it's against the law to do it in the first place. We're just talking about what constitutes, you can't hurt them. If you did that, if it came to that point, then something was wrong in your planning phase and you're not a good enough thief.
Yeah, sloppy.
Yeah.
And sloppy people get people hurt, you know? Yeah, so if you're like writing, if you want to write a honest thief in your screenplay or book or whatever, or just think about some of the characters you loved, see if they check that box.
Yeah.
I would actually like to do this again with more character archetypes.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we could always, edit a little bit. We could try to think of a couple more. Saul Goodman was a great example.
Yeah, I might try to get one out here, but like, I would actually like to do this again about like, justified villain or, who has, like redemption character, I actually liked breaking down these character archetypes with you. It's fun.
Yeah. I figured it might be a good exercise for
because everybody thinks of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
But I
And
think there's more context.
exactly. And he's the gold standard. It's like there is an in-between, I would imagine.
Probably, I mean, based off of our fundamentals here, I think there's several in-betweens.
I do want to kind of work it in, and maybe this has nothing to do with me. People might think it does. I want to work in a way where a person who steals selfishly can still be an honest thief because of this, you know,
Well,
they're not a
okay.
good person.
So it I think we covered it in our rules. Is that who's the target?
Right. But
even-
distribution of loot.
Yeah.
If it's only to yourself,
Look,
as long as it's from
if you're robbing a guy who has stolen money, or like if you robbed Joel Osteen,
yeah.
don't come at me, man. You're scary, please. But if you robbed Joel Osteen, and just kept the money, and like, I think you have to do something good with it. If you rob,
what if it's just bettering their own life?
If you rob a villain and just, now I have a good house, I don't think you're honest.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I think you have to at least do some. I'm not saying you donate 100% to charity, but if you don't check 20% of altruism, I think you're still
20% honest thief on the loot distribution rule, just like a plot point underneath it.
Very
like
minimal.
20% distribution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you got to do something good with it.
Yeah.
Donate it to a humane society, or
that would actually be great. Just feed some dogs or something.
Yeah, do something.
Yes.
Or just be like, okay, if you are going to spend them, I think I found your loophole here. If you are going to spend it selfishly, support like local businesses or people going under, or like,
go to your local ice cream shop and buy a fucking ice cream cone every day.
You get an ice cream cone.
Barbecue truck.
Yeah, you get an ice cream cone every day.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're giving rides to somebody, or you know, like,
if you bought a car with it, use that car to drive other people around.
Yeah, you're helping people out.
That's a good. I love how we're like giving advice. Do not steal. Okay, I want to make sure that is clear. It is not okay to steal.
We're talking from a story standpoint.
Yeah,
or like characters. You know.
But yeah, I would say that's like, especially that, like, somebody steals from Joel Osteen, buys themselves a car, not even a nice car, but a good enough car that works for them, AC works and all that shit. And then they're also like helping their friends out as well as making their own life better. Honest thief.
There's a guy that you see, alongside the road every Tuesday, waiting for a ride or something, or like, guy always at the bus stop and working hard or something. You just give him a lift, or support your local ice cream shop, or make a fucking what do they call, like a scholarship. $200.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't know how much, I don't know amounts.
Yeah. Well, it just as an example.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to blow the whole load, but you got to do something. You got to do something with it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's a good. Okay, so before we wrap it up here, we're gonna do the bullet list again.
Yeah.
Right quick. Rule number 1: no violence. If it comes to violence, you did it wrong, so you're not an honest thief.
Yeah, you have to have smooth precision. Your intentions have to be aligned.
Yep. Rule number 2: intended target. Corporations are good. Rich motherfuckers who rob other people are good. There is more to it.
People that cause more harm than good.
Yeah. And then rule number 3: distribution of loot with a plot point underneath of at least 20%.
Yeah.
And this is not advice, dodo birds. But this is just what it constitutes. And mine and Mike's opinion for episode 29, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going on 30. But yeah, I'd say that at least on the Dodo Birds podcast, if you want to be considered an honest thief, those are the those are the parameters you got to meet.
Yeah, like I said, like it's kind of fun. I know I'm going to be doing this the rest of the night, where I'm going to be thinking about like characters I really like.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about like Tulsa King before.
Okay.
And I think Dwight very much checks that.
Yeah.
Like he does he does bad stuff sometimes, but like I think he is a good guy, you know.
In here.
Yeah. And he gives back and
well-intended, honest.
Yeah, supports people that need it, and
yeah,
like
a real Robin Hood in his own.
Yeah, so like I like the thought experiment of thinking of some of the characters and like, do they check that honest thief archetype?
Yeah.
So this is I don't know, maybe it's not great advice for people running.
Again, this is not advice.
It's for fiction.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation today. We're not doing an advice piece at all.
But like, I don't know if this is good advice for writing a character, or like, you know, if you wanted to do a D&D character.
On that front, this is great advice. Use it for that all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's subjective if it is good or not. But however,
well, you know, you could.
This is a application for it.
Yeah.
Fiction characters.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam and I have actually been playing tabletop games for a while.
Yeah, I'm new to it. I've been enjoying it, though. Mike's showing me the way.
Yeah, it's been really fun to have him along for it. So I know at some point we're going to do some more like D&D, Pathfinder, tabletop. We'll do like an episode about, you know, talking about that stuff.
Yeah, some content on it.
Yeah, and we would love to like film some of it eventually. And
we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We've already brainstormed a lot of different things for the channel, possibly some video game stuff, some tabletop gaming, and maybe starting another channel starring yours truly. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
No details on that yet, though. We'll tease it.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys if you're here. We can assure you that in the future, it will not always just be a podcast. So if it just being a podcast hasn't gotten you to the subscribe yet, there will be more. You know, we did the game show. We'll be doing stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna do stuff like that too.
You'll have something every week.
Plus, you will always have us having a conversation almost every week. We missed last week again. We're apologizing for that, but we will be doing a podcast where we just talk.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, and then we'll do other things on the channel
as well.
As
little bonuses.
Yeah.
Assuming I don't have to go back to the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah.
Hopefully my business there is finished, but we'll see how it works out. Yeah. You know, those things. And
it just changes last minute. You know, they give them a call, bro, we need you here tomorrow night. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll jump on a plane. But, you know, you got to be careful picking your flight, too, with all the planes that have been falling out of the fucking sky lately.
Yeah, I mean, like, when the totem of embellishment calls, you have to go, even if it is a Boeing flight.
Even if it is a Boeing flight.
Well, I think that's a good place to end. Thank you guys again. Do the YouTube stuff.
Possible shout out to Slim Pickens. We've had some on and off stuff with that, but
we're figuring it out.
Yeah, we're hoping to bring Slim Pickens back. If he wasn't on this episode, we're gonna get there. We're working on it.
Yeah, he'll be back. Thank you again, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, Dodo Birds.
Toodaloo.
And ta-ta.